never real. I can give up, but what was never real. I sacrifice illusions, nothing more. And as illusions go, I find the gifts illusions tried to hide, awaiting me in shining welcome, and in readiness to give God's ancient messages to me. His memory abides in every gift that I receive of Him, and every dream serves only to conceal the self which God's only Son, which is God's only Son, the likeness of Himself, the Holy One who still abides, the Holy One who still abides in Him forever, as He still abides in me. His memory abides in every gift I receive of Him, and every dream serves only to conceal the self which God's only Son, which is God's only Son. His memory abides in every gift I receive of Him. Every dream serves only to conceal the self which is God's only Son, the likeness of Himself, the Holy One who still abides, the Holy One who still abides in Him forever, as He still abides in me. I can give up, but what was never real. I can give up, but what was never real. Father, to You all sacrifice remains forever inconceivable. Father, to You all sacrifice remains forever inconceivable. And so I cannot sacrifice except in dreams. And so I cannot sacrifice except in dreams. As You created me, I can give up nothing You gave me. As You created me, I can give up nothing except what You gave me. As You created me, I can give up nothing You gave me. What You did not give has no reality. What loss can I anticipate except the loss of fear? What loss can I anticipate except the loss of fear? And the return of love into my mind. I can give up, but what was never real. I can give up, but what was never real. I can give up, but what was never real. Well, thank you all so much for joining me in studying Lesson 322 in A Course in Miracles. We'll actually be reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version, but you can follow along from the original edition. There might be a few word changes, but very minor. You can find it online, the ACIM version of A Course in Miracles, the FIP, the Foundation for Inner Peace version, at acim.org. Or you could find the original edition on jcim.net. So follow along if you can. And here we go. We've already sang through it. Let's just read it through. I can give up but what was never real. I sacrifice illusions, nothing more, and as illusions go, I find the gifts illusions tried to hide, awaiting me in shining welcome and in readiness to give God's ancient messages to me. His memory abides in every gift that I receive of Him, and every dream serves only to conceal the self, which is God's only Son, the likeness of Himself, the Holy One who still abides in Him forever, as He still abides in me. Father, to you all sacrifice remains forever inconceivable. You can only give up what was never real. No matter how much reality you've given it, it's simply a dream, a make-believe. Father, to you all sacrifice remains forever inconceivable. And so I cannot sacrifice except in dreams. As you created me, I can give up nothing you gave me. What you did not give has no reality. What loss can I anticipate except the loss of fear and the return of love into my mind? So, and I didn't say I'm Forgiveness Willie, teaching forgiveness from the Ozarks. And this is lesson 322 for Tuesday, November the 18th of 2025. It's Saturday morning preceding that Tuesday that I'm doing this recording. Nice day. We camped out last night with some of the grandkids, and here in the middle of November, camping out and comfortably. I can give up, but what was never real, except my air mattress went flat during the night. Not real comfortable on that part. Okay, let's see. Let's take a look at our associated reading back a page or two, and let's see what we've got here. What is creation? And before we move on from I can give up, but what was never real, learn to let go of things. Let go of everything, because if it's real, it comes back to you. If it's not real, it was a good thing to let go of it. And practice that every hour of the day today. Bring your attention to I can give up, but what was never real. Ask God for guidance. Look for things to be thankful for. And make sure you're at peace and feeling the joy of God. And then every morning and every evening, do a longer period of that very thing, being still and quiet, checking in with God, asking Him for what He has for you for the day. What is creation? Creation is the sum of all God's thoughts, in number infinite and everywhere without all limits. Only love creates, and only like itself. There was no time when all that it created was not there, nor will there be a time when anything that it created suffers any loss. Forever and forever are God's thoughts exactly as they were and as they are, unchanged through time and after time is done. God's thoughts are given all the power that their own Creator has, for He would add to love by its extension. Thus His Son shares in creation and must therefore share in power to create. What God has willed to be forever one will still be one when time is over, and will not be changed throughout the course of time, remaining as it was before the thought of time began. Creation is the opposite of all illusions, for creation is the truth. Creation is the Holy Son of God, for in creation is His will complete in every aspect, making every part container of the whole. Its oneness is forever guaranteed inviolate, forever held within His holy will, beyond all possibility of harm, of separation, imperfection, and of any spot upon its sinlessness. We are creation, we the sons of God. We seem to be discreet and unaware of our eternal unity with Him, yet back of all our doubts, past all our fears, there still is certainty. For love remains with all its thoughts, its sureness being theirs. God's memory is in our holy minds, which know their oneness and their unity with their Creator. Let our function be only to let this memory return. Let our function be only to let the memory of God return. Only to let God's will be done on earth. Only to be restored to sanity. And to be but as God created us. Our Father calls to us, we hear His voice, and we forgive creation in the name of its Creator, holiness itself, whose holiness His own creation shares, whose holiness is still a part of us. Okay, let's take a look in our Manual for Teachers reading, and we're ready for What is Death, which is number 27. What is death? Number 27. Death is the central dream from which all illusions stem. The idea of death is the central illusion. Everything else is based on fear of death. Death is the central dream from which all illusions stem. Is it not madness to think of life as being born, aging, losing vitality, and dying in the end? He says that's an insane thought, a mad thought, that we get old and die, that's life. We've asked this question before, but now we need to consider it more carefully. It is the one fixed, unchangeable belief of the world that all things in it are born only to die. This is regarded as the way of nature, not to be raised to question, but to be accepted as the natural law of life. The cyclical, the changing and unsure, the undependable and the unsteady, waxing and waning in a certain way upon a certain path. Waxing and waning in a certain way upon a certain path. All this is taken as the will of God. And no one asks if a benign creator could will this. Wow, he's trying to get us to ask that question. Would a God who loves and creates us in love ever do anything like this? Paragraph 2. In this perception of the universe as God created it, it would be impossible to think of Him as loving. For who has decreed that all things pass away, ending in dust, and disappointment and despair can but be feared? He holds your little life in His hand, but by a thread, ready to break it off without regret or care, perhaps today. Or if He waits, yet is the ending certain. Who loves such a God knows not of love, because he has denied that life is real. Death has become life's symbol. His world is now a battleground where contradiction reigns and opposites make endless war. Where there is death, is peace impossible. Okay, we want to learn to live in peace. So we must learn that there is no death. What does that mean? It means we're not a body, and that the body may die or change or pass away in its central dream. But that's not us. And we've got to keep this, we've got to make that shift in realizing that we're not the body and that we never die. My kids used to ask me, Dad, how old are you? And I said, I never was born and I won't ever die. Paragraph 3. Death is the symbol of the fear of God. His love is blotted out in the idea, which holds it from awareness like a shield held up to obscure the sun. The grimness of the symbol is enough to show it cannot coexist with God. It holds an image of the Son of God in which He is laid to rest, in devastation's arms, where worms wait to greet Him and to last a little while by His destruction. Yet the worms as well are doomed to be destroyed as certainly. And so do all things live because of death. Devouring is nature's law of life. God is insane, and fear alone is real. Oh my. Of course, that's the way the ego thinks, the way the separated mind, the way we think in the dream where death is real. Paragraph 4. The curious belief that there is part of dying things that may go on apart from what will die does not proclaim a loving God nor reestablish any grounds for trust. If death is real, for anything there is no life. Death denies life. But if there is reality in life, death is denied. Death is denied. Death denies life, but if there is reality in life, death is denied. No compromise in this is possible. There is either a God of fear or one of love. The world attempts 1,000 compromises and will attempt 1,000 more. Not one can be acceptable to God's teachers, because not one could be acceptable to God. He did not make death because he did not make fear. Both are equally meaningless to him. Death and fear are equally meaningless to God. Therefore, they need to be equally meaningless to us. Paragraph 5, the end quotes reality. The reality of death is firmly rooted in the belief that God's Son is a body. And if God created bodies, death would indeed be real. But God would not be loving. There is no point at which the contrast between the perception of the real world and that of the world of illusions becomes more sharply evident. Death is indeed the death of God, if he is love. Death is indeed the death of God, if God is love. And now his own creation must stand in fear of God, of him. He is not Father, but destroyer. He is not creator, but avenger. Terrible his thoughts, and fearful his image. To look on his creations is to die. Paragraph 6. And the last to overcome will be death. Of course, that's a quote out of, is that a 1 Corinthians, New Testament? I didn't look it up. I'll try to look it up and put it in the description below. I'll try to remember to do that. The last to overcome will be death. Of course it will be. Without the idea of death, there is no world. All dreams will end with this one. So this is a dream. This world's a dream. Wow. I don't think we believe it yet, do we? It seems so real. Wake up. The last to overcome will be death. Of course, without the idea of death, there is no world. All dreams will end with this one. This is salvation's final goal, the end of all illusions. And in death are all illusions born. What can be born of death and still have life? But what is born of God and still can die? The inconsistencies, the compromises, and the rituals the world fosters in its vain attempts to cling to death and yet to think love real are mindless magic, ineffectual and meaningless. God is, and in him all created things must be eternal. God is, and in him are all created things must be eternal. God is, and in him all created things must be eternal. Do you not see that otherwise he has an opposite, and fear would be as real as love? And the last paragraph, 7. You know this particular passage or this particular reading is meaningful to me today because I have two my wife Diane that died in 1992. Her parents are 94 and 91, and they're on hospice and getting ready to make their crossing, and it could be real soon. So I'm trying to look at it that they're making a crossing from an illusion to a reality. Life is what's real, not death. They didn't live so they could 94 years later die. That's Trudy and Dawn, by the way, and I love them dearly, and I felt really, they don't quite see things the way that we're understanding right here, but that's okay. They mean well, and they love God. What else can we really do in this world other than do the best we can and love God? Teacher of God, your one assignment could be stated thus: accept no compromise in which death plays a part. Do not believe in cruelty, nor let attack conceal the truth from you. What seems to die has but been misperceived and carried to illusion. Now it becomes your task to let the illusion be carried to the truth. let the illusion be carried to the truth is our task. Be steadfast, but in this. Be not deceived by the, in quotes, reality of any changing form. Truth neither moves nor wavers, nor strikes down to death and dissolution. And what is the end of death? Nothing but this, the realization that the Son of God is guiltless now and forever. Nothing but this. But do not let yourself forget it is not less than this. So what is it? Let's read it again. Be steadfast, but in this. Be not deceived by the reality of any changing form. And that word reality is in quotes because it'll appear to be a reality, but it's just a changing form, which means it's an unreality. It's a dream. Teacher of God, your one assignment could be stated thus: accept no compromise in which death plays a part. Do not believe in cruelty, nor let attack conceal the truth from you. What seems to die has but been misperceived and carried to illusion. Now it becomes your task to let the illusion be carried to the truth. Be steadfast, but in this. Be not deceived by the reality of any changing form. Truth neither moves nor wavers nor sinks down to death and dissolution. And what is the end of death? Nothing but this, the realization that the Son of God is guiltless now and forever. The Son of God, Dawn, is guiltless now and forever. Trudy is guiltless now and forever. You are guiltless now and forever. I am guiltless now and forever. Truth neither moves nor wavers nor sinks down to death and dissolution. And what is the end of death? Nothing but this, the realization that the Son of God is guiltless now and forever. Nothing but this. But do not let yourself forget it is not less than this. Okay, there is no death. Just a dream. Okay, what's going on around the world? Keep in mind today, I can give up but what was never real. It's a Hindu festival, a festival of Masik Shivaratri, Shiva celebration. Out of holidays and observances, I found that it's European Antibiotic Awareness Day, Apple Cider Day, the Malus Domestica. You know, make some apple cider out of those apples, and I guess you could use other fruits too, like pears. That are, you know, cut the parts off that are rotten, and then put them in a jug to ferment with some water in there. And some people don't even use water. And then strain it out, put a cloth over it. If you put an airlock on it, it'll turn to wine. If you let it have air, it'll turn to cider in the beginning, and then it goes on to vinegar. Do a little research on how to do it. I'm not really proficient at it. Entrepreneurship Day, Princess Day, which is, there's a princess in every woman. You could think of it, that the strength of gentleness. And isn't that a nice concept? The strength of gentleness, kindness, courage, and confidence in women. That makes you a princess. Not the outer adorning of silver and gold, but the inner beauty of a quiet and beautiful heart tuned in with God. Occult Day, things that are secret or hidden. Vichisuis Day, which is a cold, hearty soup. I'm sure I didn't pronounce it right. Parents' Day. If you're a parent, it's your day. Push button phone day, and William Tell Day. He was a Swiss folk hero that was good with his bow, shot an apple off of his son's head, as the story goes. And then out of Seed Savers Exchange, we've got another Brassica oleracea, and it's a Copenhagan market cabbage. And it says here of the Copenhagan market cabbage, well, let's see if we can find it. Copenhagen market cabbage, and I have lost my page. Cabbage. corn, carrots, kohlrabi, kale, cabbage. Here we go. Copenhagen market cabbage. This Danish historic variety was introduced by H. Hartman and Company in 1909. Its solid heads reach 6 to 8 inches in diameter and weigh 3 to 4 pounds and rarely burst. Medium-sized plants are ideal for small gardens, 63 to 100 days from transplant. And let's close with our song. Oh, our word for peace today from German is Frieden. Frieden. And the main rivers in Germany is the Rhine, which flows to the North Sea, and the Danube, which flows south to the Black Sea, and the Elbe. Those are 3 of the main rivers. Okay, we got plenty of time for our song, don't we? Let's see if I can get set up. I'm taking a little longer than I should be to get to this point. But I think we're doing good. I like to be done with it before the 30 minutes. I so appreciate you guys joining me and studying. I can give up, but what was never real. I can give up, but what was never real. I can give up the body, what was never real. Give up the thought that you are a body. I can give up, but what was never real. I sacrifice illusions, nothing more. And as illusions go, I find the gifts illusions tried to hide, awaiting me in shining welcome, and in readiness to give God's ancient messages to me. His memory abides in every gift I receive of Him, and every dream serves only to conceal the self, which is God's only Son, the likeness of Himself, the Holy One who still abides, the Holy One who still abides in Him forever, as He still abides in me. I can give up, but what was never real. I can give up, but what was never real. Father, to you all sacrifice remains forever inconceivable, and so I cannot sacrifice except in dreams. As you created me, I can give up nothing you gave me. What you did not give has no reality. What loss can I anticipate except the loss of fear and the return of love into my mind? I can give up, but what was never real. I can give up, but what was never real. I can give up, but what was never real. I can give up, but what was never real. And as they say with our brothers and sisters from Germany, Frieden, Frieden be with you. I can give up, but what was never real. Frieden.